Welcome back to the channel. My name is T Cypher, and today we're going to continue the build of the Tomahawk as you see in front of you. I just want to reiterate that there is no instructions for this. This is a advanced DIY build, to say the least, and CNC 3D will be producing a fully built version of this, being of course the Nighthawk. Since the last video I did, I've put into place a lot of the subframes, so we can see I've now got the center legs in place, so somewhere there-ish, there you go. And I've got a piece of spare 160 by 80. That was I decided to buy a better piece for the X-axis from the UK, and then I've got these long axes across here, and also the subframes all built there. It is pretty solid. Doesn't seem to be any planer at all. I'm going to bulk it out with some wooden panels and things, just to increase the rigidity further. But for today, we're going to be having a look at the X Gantry, and we'll be getting the X Gantry on the frame. I'll talk about how I've got the rails aligned, and we will get as I said, get the X Gantry on the frame, and also start taking a look at the Z as well. So let's make a start. Okay, so what I've already done is I've already put the rails on this piece. I used a similar process to the way I put the rails on the X-axis, and I've also already aligned the two rails so they're as square as possible. It's a very long, slow process, so I thought no point in filming it, but basically I set one up as flat as I could using my surface plate, using my straight edges, and then I set the other one up using this dial mechanism to dial in so that they are parallel. They're not necessarily perfectly level of each other, but they are very close to perfectly level of each other, in all honesty. But the most important bit is that both the carriages on the top and the bottom will run parallel. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just show you how good I've got this. Okay, I don't know how well you can see the dial indicator at the moment. It has increments of 0.01 millimeters, this one, and I'm presently showing 83 on this dial. That value is purely in reference to itself. So if I slowly sweep up, I'll just read out the measurements I'm getting. So 83, just gone up to 84. Okay, maxed out at 84, back down to 83. Now I can't see it. I'm at 85 now, so I'm seeing basically 84 plus or minus 0.01, which I think is about as close as I'm going to get it, and it should be good enough for the linear bearings to manage. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this off, make sure that the rails are the same parallel in height manner, there's not too much waviness going on there, and we'll see, and hopefully we'll come back there and I'll have a clue on where that stands. Okay, so I've mounted up my little jeweler's DTI there, and we'll just go through the same process again. So it is presently reading on the spot 0. Each increment is 0.002, very small. So okay, just go down. Okay, reading 16, I think that is. Yeah, 16. So yeah. Just go through and go measure it. Okay, 20, 12, 10, 18, 19, 20, 18, 6, 0. Just going to go back again just on the screw ports. So that's 10, 18, 18, 18, 12, 12, 13. Okay, so again I'm seeing plus or minus 0.01 millimeter, which should be fine. I do have some shim, but I don't think I've got shim that's going to make any sort of difference to that sort of displacement. So I'm pretty happy with that. Hopefully when I get it on and the carriages are assembled, it should run nice and smooth. If I feel it's sticking a bit too much, I might have to take it on and just try and get it even tighter tolerance. So yeah, so next thing I'm going to be doing is trying to get it on the rails. Okay, so I previously mentioned the Z Gantry, and I actually did this in a previous video I recorded but didn't release, mainly because I got to the end and then realised I made a mistake, to put it simply, and that was going to have to basically start afresh. And this is again a topic that I've actually discussed with Daniel. Basically what's happened was I got the rails, got them lined up square to reference face, brilliant, got that all in, everything was hunky-dory, and then I realised I couldn't get the bolt head in. I could on the other side, just so I could loosen and tighten the other side, but this side, no go. And I've suggested that he moves these out by a small amount, just so that we've got clearance to get in with the tools once the rails are mounted. So what I'm going to have to basically do is, unfortunately, I'm going to have to basically assemble this on the rail, which isn't ideal really, because I wanted to be able to square everything up, then put it on the rail. That was where I intended to do it. So yeah, so what I'm going to get to now is disassemble this back down again, so that I can re-record how I assembled it. Okay, so got it all disassembled, cleaned out all the bearing blocks, got them lithium greased, perhaps got a lithium grease in there just to tide them over. Okay, so I thought I'd best talk you through the process I'm thinking about regarding the assembly of these parts. So there is a fourth bit to this, the X gantry, the X carriage maybe, well, the bit that carries the Z axis basically. So that's the back plate, but I think that's not as important at this moment in time as to the position of the part. So we have certain references here. We have on the bottom here, this is the bottom of the Z axis, we have a reference face which mates with this reference face here, which is on the bottom, goes underneath the carriage. Okay, so that's important to remember. Additionally, we have a reference face here, which is the top piece that goes over, which is referenced against the back of this plate, which, well, this is the back of the plate, so it references against there. So what I need to do is I need to get the carriages installed into here so that they are parallel against this reference face here. If that's the case, this back of this plate will always be parallel with the axis of travel. So that's a good starter for 6. Okay, now that doesn't mean it's vertically correct, unfortunately, but that's where I believe this part here comes in, because if that is reference hard and this is referencing against this bottom section, that would mean that it is it should run horizontal and this axis should be vertical perfectly against the X gantry. So what I need to do is get the carriages rolled on here. I'm going to build it on here, thinking being I can easily roll it on, roll it off, and once I've got this all squared up and set up, I can then put the linear rails for the Z gantry onto it. So first step is I'm going to assemble this top plate onto a pair of these carriages. So I'm using M6 by 20 bolts, and I'm just going to go place this on top, get a rough hole line up, get a couple in for each, and I'm not worried about getting things tightened down at this moment. This is just literally getting started. And the important note is, if we look on the actual carriages themselves, you'll notice one side has a shiny ground face, the other side doesn't. This is a reference face, so what I'm doing is I'm aligning the reference face of the carriages with the reference face I'm going to use on this block here. So like I said, I'm not going to tighten things up. I have come to discover that it's not unusual for these to be rather tight in the blocks anyway. Okay, that's nice and smooth all going in, and I'm just literally going to knit them all down, literally finger tight, only just finger tight, and then I'm going to just come off quarter turn on each one, just so I've got some movement to play with. And let's bring the other one in play. Again, I'm just going to tighten them all down, just finger tight, like not properly, this is just getting things aligned. Okay, back them off a quarter turn. All that means is that basically these blocks are presently floating. I'm going to just tighten it up a little bit more so they're not quite floating that much. So you can see wobbling a bit, not a lot of play here, but that's not a problem. So next I'm going to go to the floor, my surface plate, and show how I'm getting this reference face parallel to here. Okay, so what I've just done is I've used a vernier and I've just measured the maximum distance from the surface face and the minimum for each block, just to get an idea of where the midpoint is to distance wise from the blocks. So there. Okay, so I've measured, it's somewhere between 14.78 and 15.5. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to use a 15mm space between this face and this face. That's what I'm going to set. Okay, so what I've done is I've got a couple of gauge blocks that add up to 15mm on the dot. I would say the vernier is probably more out than the blocks. Yeah, that's 15. Okay, and if it's 0.02 out, it's just not going to really matter too much to me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the block. It's going to go underneath. Just push them together a bit better. Okay, and it's going to go against the reference face here, and then the actual. I'm going to hold the part flat against there, and basically what I want to do is I want to compress the block down onto that gauge plate so that reference face is facing there, and then do it up at the rear. So yeah, that's the cunning plan, and if it works, I should end up with two blocks which are perfectly parallel to each other. At 15mm. So let's see if I've got it right here. Yeah. Oh, you can't see it. It's looks good. Okay. Okay, and if I go down to my level, I should have a good sight on it. It should look good. It's actually a little bit of rock on this, so it's probably not perfectly flat, this face here. Yeah, there's a little bit of rock there. Okay, that's not ideal. Okay, but yeah, I'll now do this on the other side. Make sure the block sort of plunks down. And it doesn't matter if it's not exactly 15mm, or what's most important is that it's perpendicular and it's parallel. So that should be perfectly parallel. There's no block that way, so yeah. Okay, so now I've got this right, this should slide on without any problem really. There might be a slight little dinkle as it goes over the first part. So this is the top plate, so I need to make sure I onto the top plate and face in the right direction. So let's see if this happens, and I've not done this off camera. So it should just go on. That's good. Before I lose it. This part in okay. Not a difficult bit. Yeah, there we go. Second one. Perfect. Okay, so I did wipe down these rails to get any oil off them already, so yeah. Okay, so next I need to mount the blocks on here. I'm going to repeat the process, going to have them nice and parallel against this face here, and then we'll see about getting the actual gantry on. Moment of truth part 2. Hopefully this will go on without any issue. Helps if we get it started. There we go. And as I'm taking it out, just notice I'm taking these and keeping them safe. Always important to keep those things safe. Can save your day many a time. Now, both those are sliding. Okay, so the next bit of truth will be where or not I fit that plate on. So let's make a start on that. So I'm using some M8 bolts. These are M8 by 20s. So I'm gonna take very carefully. I'm gonna do basically walk them together. Okay, so I'm going to literally get that in place there. See, we're a bit out at the moment, but that doesn't matter. So the good news, so at the very least those bolts will start. So I'm just going to start these bolts. Don't want to tighten them down yet. I'm just going to, as I did before, finger tight down all the way on all of them. Okay, then just back them off a little bit, just so I've got. Okay, so as you can see, hopefully, come a little closer in. There is vertical up and down movement on the plate. Okay, so next, we bring in the bottom. And get these ones done. Start in the middle. So generally like to start in the middle. And with the back ones, that's actually playing that manner, horizontal. So you've got playing both axes. One side acting as the reference for one axis, and then the other for the other axes, and then you've got the playing between them to get them lined up. So like I say, I'm just going to do them all in quickly first. Okay. Okay, like I did before, I'm just going to knit them up to finger tight. I will go through everything and torque it all up once I've got the fit right. Okay, so, and I'm just going to back it off a quarter turn or so, just to get the plane in place still. Okay, so what that should mean is like this, we'll just play there. A tiny amount of holes will play that way. Okay. So yeah. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go off camera, play a bit and see if I can get happy about how I get this square, then talk you guys through what I did. Okay, so what I did is I knit these up hard. I then pulled these in tight, being the theory that because these weren't torqued down too hard, it would drag it in, and then once I undid that, got those tight, I then loosened those off and just retightened them again, and it appears to have put it nice and square. The little square I've got there, I can't see any lock there at all. Everything looks nice and square all the way around, which I would consider a result. Okay, now big moment of truth, will it slide properly? Ooh. Don't whack my T-square in the process. That, if I say so myself, is very nice. Okay, so the situation we are now is that this should be perpendicular to this axis perfectly, and it should be perpendicular to it, the parallel to this face as well. That face doesn't matter so much because I can always adjust the nod, it's called, on the when it's up, but making sure that this face is perpendicular to this is the important thing, because that's the angle of the axes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to torque these up. So I need to just quickly look up on my little chart what torque I need to go with. So M8 bolt into aluminium should be M8 aluminium 1470 centimeter meters. So that is almost out of the scope of my thing, I think. So yeah, I've got a torque wrench, so I'll just set it up and torque it in. Okay, set to 1470 Newton meters. Oops, if I have the right head connected. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the centre, and I'm just going to torque up slowly and carefully. Okay. It was rather torque outwards. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that for there, and then I'm going to torque in the carriages as well. So, be back once that's done. Okay, so all torqued up, still flowing nice and smooth. Now, I have two options what I could do next. I could put the back plate on, which is this beastie, but I don't want to, put it bluntly, because I want to be able to take this off to do my alignment of the rail for the Z against this face here. Although I'll have to think about this because I'll have to call it a night for tonight. I might have a think about this and maybe change up how I do this, but I'll probably use a similar method to what I've done before, and using the surface block and using that as a reference face and to line it off there. But I'll just think of that overnight, and I'll get back to this tomorrow morning. Well, tomorrow evening more likely. Okay, so I had it off, making sure I used the inserts. It's actually a couple of days later, so yeah. Okay, and then I used a similar method as I've used before to align the rail to the back edge. And then I had these blocks, which again are all lined up square. And I just used that to transfer the alignment to the second rail. So this now is aligned, and I've had this on. It slides up and down fine, but I've taken it off for the moment because I'm going to leave it off until I've actually got this entire axis onto the machine. So that is what I'll be doing next. Okay, so I've walked this up with care. I could have really done with a second pair of hands because, to put it bluntly, this is very heavy now, this assembly, which is probably a good thing for the stability of the build, but at the same time makes it very difficult for me. So now I have some M10 shoulder bolts, so M10 by 20 shoulder bolts with a washer on the end too. Otherwise they'll bottom out because these are about 20mm thick, so they'll bottom out. So yeah, what I've done, I've walked it up, I've aligned it so that this hole I've opened up for the M10 is aligned. So hopefully, if I go in with these, I should be able to pick up the centre. Okay, I'm just taking the weight and it's going in. Good, what I'm going to do is switch to the other side and do the other side. Okay, and then it goes. Okay, so now I've got those done. What I need to do now is remove these bits and let it swing down. So carefully, I'm going to walk it out. I might well try and drop on this. I do this, so let's do it nice and carefully. I guess ideally you probably want some sort of crane above this, taking the weight at this point in time. Okay. One random batten. So yeah, a tight fit. And that's definitely taking off the back. You can see it's starting to drop in the back. Let's see if I can get that out. Excellent. Okay. couple more of them out so I can actually swing this into the upright position. And this is the point where I'm thankful my boat's all been ready to reach. And I'm just going to go in with one on the top. And that is it secured up. Okay, so now I have my ex-gantry on, so now I just need to put these bolts in. I'm just going to knit them up, not going to tighten them up or anything because there's a little bit of play fore and aft here to adjust for nod. Yeah, see in a sec. Okay, so we have that axis now on, so we are almost complete for this particular episode. So you can see, rolls back and forth nicely. Just a reminder, this axis here is not tightened down at the moment. Rolls nice and good. If the bearings sound a bit dry, it's because they are. I've only just put a light squirt in there for the time being. Okay, we've had the Z plate on, but I've taken it off now until we get the motion control stuff going on. There's going to be a ball screw sat here, and it really took one less weight out for putting it on. So all we're going to do now is we're going to finish off the bolting on of the parts onto this. So we have, this is the plate that goes on the back. What we're going to do, we're going to put this in, and this should be, I would say, M8 by 20. Okay, so hopefully I'll start with the centre one. That's nicely aligned, fingers crossed. There we go. That's taken as well. Okay, so those have taken nicely. I'm just going to knit these up. I might well take this plate off again, just because I'm going to be using this to mount various things on. And it might be easier for me to do that while the plate's off. For instance, there's going to be a PC water cooler mounted there, which is going to have to cool the spindle. So we've got that in place. Okay, and the final piece. Okay, so this is the top of the Z-axis. So again, this is just going to be another loose fitting. I won't do this part up until I've got the ball bearings in. So the ball bearings, the ball screws in. Okay, and there we have it. Okay, hope you've enjoyed this episode. Sorry if it's been a bit long. Please like and subscribe. Next video I'm going to start looking, I would imagine, I'll look at the doing the ball screws, or I might look at the controls, not sure yet. But probably between then and now I will finish the bottom frame. It's 99% done. Just want to put a couple more straps across and put some wood on it. Yeah, so see you all next time.